Dripping, dripping. That's it. That's the run. It's just starting. Welcome to the channel. We're out here in the Northwoods making some maple syrup today, and I invite you to come along. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. And I pray you make a lot of sap, and I pray you bless our home. Help us to bless others, we pray. In your name, amen. So, you want to go up about 3.5 feet to 4 feet off the ground. Find a tree that's more than 10 inches wide. No deeper than about 1.5 to 2 inches deep at a slightly upward angle. You can already see the sap starting to flow. Maple trees, preferably sugar maple. Look at that, you can see that sap flowing out of there right now. It's a good day to tap the tree. Your sugar maples, black maples, to a lesser extent red maples and silver maples. Tap it in. Put it in there nice and straight. A few more taps. Should be firm and tight. Wait for the sap to start flowing. Again, it's a celebration of the coming new year. Your bucket goes right there. Now, we have lids that go on there. To put the lid on there, with this style, there's different styles. Some people have rubber tubing. Here, this is backyard sugaring, backyard maple syrup making. The spiels have little holes in them, just like this. Beautiful. Goes through here. Hope you can see this. Right through there. Right through there. Comes around. Clips underneath. And the lid's on. And like I said, we saw the sap flowing earlier. We'll come back a little bit to check on it and see how it's flowing out of here. But it's as simple as that. Tap the first tree. Drill the hole. Lid goes on, bucket hangs, and once the spile fills up, we'll see the syrup, or the sap rather, starting to drip. We'll come back in a few minutes and you can see it's a rather cold day, so it's not going to be flowing fast today, but in a few days it'll really pick up. Thank you. Here's a tip for all of you backyard sugar makers. While you're waiting for the thaw to return, make sure that you pack all your sap inside a food grade bin. Put something on top that's heavy that a critter can't knock over. Keep your sap in there, pack some snow around it. That way as it warms up, your sap will stay cool and won't spoil until your next boil. Here we are. Okay, we're gathering our sap today. My son's gonna go ahead and lift up the bucket, lift up the lid. You can see it there, you're looking inside. My daughter's holding the bucket.
Oh,
grab it from the top and pour. I know. Pour it into the bucket, bud, without spilling any. Excellent. We got to put it back on where it came from. We got to do this with about 12 more trees, and there it goes dripping. All right, now I am using a 16 by 24 inch flat pan. In the past, when I actually did this professionally, I would have like a 2x4 or 3x6 pan with riffled edges in the bottom, and we could burn about 8 to 16 gallons an hour. This will probably take about 20 hours probably to do a gallon to make a gallon of syrup, to burn off 35 or 40 gallons. Anyway, you can hear the fire's going good down in there. You can hear it roaring. That's the firebox. The back half of the firebox is called the fire arch. It lifts the fire up and into the back, the rear, and then it will start circulating the heat around. And when it starts steaming and boiling, we'll give you a shot of that. If you notice, I took the cinder block here and blocked the door, the opening, just because it'll trap more heat, push it to the back. That's what we want. You can use, I've used a wheel well in the past on a bigger operation, or if you have a nice steel arch or an actual professional one or professionally made one, you can have a door that opens and closes. Anything to trap the heat in, you want to close up the edges with fire brick, make it a nice sealer on there. Get it good and hot while we wait for it to boil. Got the sap in there, measuring about 2.7% sugar, which means we should get out of 30 gallons, about a gallon of sap, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. some basic tools to use while sugaring. Fire gloves to reach into that firebox where the fire is raging and move some wood around. Here's a ladle, a skimmer, use a spatula, and a thermometer to keep an eye on that sap. When that sap reaches 218 degrees, they'll start becoming syrup. In the meantime, it's a busy day in the Northwoods. Sandhill cranes are flying by. Tractors are running over their fields, tilling everything up. You can see the sap is getting a little darker in color, and there's more steam rising. It's about to boil. It'll get darker and darker. Of course, it eventually turn into syrup. That's what we're waiting for. A lot of what you want to be doing is just keep your fire burning hot. Keep putting wood in there as it needs it. I wanted to mention too with the stovepipe. Have a stovepipe, well, at least as long, if not longer, than your evaporator. My stovepipe is about 3 feet long. The evaporator set up here is about 2.5 feet. Really, even double that would be better. It conducts the heat up and back into the fire arch, into the firebox, into the arch. That's what you want. We'll use a dial thermometer to let you know how hot your sap is. I'm just using a kitchen thermometer here. It's about 140 degrees, so it needs to get about 65 degrees hotter before the water even starts boiling off. It won't start producing syrup until it reaches about 218 degrees. Things are just starting to boil now. You can see the bubbles forming up. You know, I mentioned earlier about using a tire rim for a door to your arch, to your evaporator. Make sure there's no tire attached to it. You don't want burning rubber. That should go without saying, but just in case. Anyway, glad to see it's starting to boil. Things should really start moving now.
Here you can see I've used a stock pot with a spigot as a pre-warmer. This is very important because it keeps the it gives me a chance to warm up sap ahead of time before I put it into the actual evaporator. I can regulate how quickly it goes in there, kind of keep track of it, and I can add more sap as it boils down. I want to warm up the sap ahead of time so I don't kill the boil. The spigot itself is adjustable, so I can make it go a little faster, a little slower, and I'll run this for several minutes.
It's actually boiling in the back of the pan. Not up front so much where it's dripping with that colder sap, but that colder sap pushes the hot stuff to the back where it's starting to boil pretty good, which is great because now it'll boil faster, even more so. But you have to keep an eye on it. You don't want it to boil over or boil down and burn your pan. And we're getting fogged out. If you have to end your boil before you're done, cover it up good for the night and hope nothing bigger than a squirrel comes by and tries to get in there. All right, welcome to day 2. You can see the sap's boiling well. Got my preheater up here. I'm holding a skimmer in my hand. See all this white froth down there? A lot of that is impurities, and it'll save you time later with filtering if you can get that out of there now. Well, good morning from the Northwoods. This should be our final day of boiling. Look how rich and dark that sap is getting. It's practically syrup now. We should be done hopefully by the end of the day with it all concentrated. There's one more pot of sap left here, but it's gone from 40 gallons down to about, maybe 10 gallons. We should be done with most of it today. I was really worried a bear might come by and knock all this down last night. And, you know, I don't know if they're up yet. I hope they're not. I hope none come by today. Or a fox or a coyote, anything like that. But it's spring in the Northwoods. Things are waking up. The birds are chirping, and the sap is starting to boil. Late last night, we finished boiling our main boil. We got 40 gallons of sap down to just 6 gallons of concentrate. That's what you call it when it's condensed. We're going to boil this off now in the on a propane burner to finish it until we get down to about a gallon and a half, somewhere in there. It should be all syrup. You can see it's much darker now. If you were to taste it, it'd be very sweet. A 20-gallon propane tank should be enough to finish this off. Hopefully it'll just take us about 5 or 6 hours, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. Just to give you a heads up of what's going to happen next, once the syrup is done, we're going to put it all into this pot here, but we're not just going to put it in there, we're going to filter it. So we're going to take a sieve that you use for canning and whatnot. This is the filter. It can be made out of wool or a synthetic fiber. You want to soak it ahead of time. You put it in there, put the pre-filter in. We'll turn on the valve and drain the syrup right into this pot, and it'll fill that up. It'll be nice and clean and pure and ready to give to family and friends and to go ahead and store. Now when you can it, just before you can it, you're going to filter it again just to make sure it's as clean and as good as possible. Also, always use stainless steel. It cleans easier, it cleans nicely, and it creates a better product, and it helps prevent cross-contamination, something you don't want. Well, it's starting to boil pretty good. Before it gets boiling too much, though, you want to keep a close eye on it. If it boils over, sap or syrup could spill everywhere. One thing you can do is take a little bit of butter, just a tiny bit, you don't want to affect the flavor, and just touch the side of the pan where the sap meets the pan there, and it'll slow down the boil and keep it from boiling over. It breaks the tension, helps you control the boil as you go. Now, just like a sap hydrometer told us the amount of sugar in the sap, there's a syrup hydrometer which will measure the amount of sugar in the syrup and let us know when it's finished. You don't want it to be too thin because then it could spoil. Plus, you'd have runny syrup. There's also a special hydrometer cup, which isn't necessary, but again, it helps measure the amount of sugar in the syrup to let you know how done it is or how complete it is. Now, you want your syrup to reach 59 brix at 218 degrees, or right around just 35 Brom, which are different scales of measurement for making syrup. Use them together and you'll have a nearly foolproof measurement of your sap or of your syrup as it's finished. We're now filtering the syrup, cleaning it up. We'll do a final cleaning from there, but it goes through the filters, and I want to show you what the filter looks like after it's gone through the syrup. Take a look at this. See how dirty this is? All this grime on here? That's why we filter. See. So we would take all that out of there, cleans up the syrup real nice. We have a nice end product, which we'll be showing you shortly. Okay, here it comes. Our maple syrup. Final filter. All you have left to do after this is to bottle it. Here. All you have left to do after this is to do one more filter and bottling. You'll have beautiful amber maple syrup. Thanks for watching.